The earth was given to the sons, not the serpent, the inheritance of the elect and the end of religious delay. The earth is the Lord's, and he gave it to the sons of men, but religion gave it back to the serpent. For generations, the church has surrendered its dominion, teaching delay, defeat, and a distant heaven. But the Spirit of God is breaking the silence, the scroll is being unsealed. The suns are rising. The serpent is being cast down. This book is a declaration of war against delay, a trumpet blast in the wilderness, and a scroll of legal transfer that returns the earth to its rightful rulers, the sons of God. If you've ever felt the stirring inside, that you were born to reign, not just survive, that you were chosen to crush the serpent, not bow to him, then this is your moment. The delay is over. Your inheritance is now. Come claim what's already yours. Chapter 1. In the beginning, dominion was given, and God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion." Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Before the fall, before the serpent slithered in, before sin, shame, or separation, there was dominion. Man wasn't born a beggar. Adam didn't open his eyes into religion. He awoke into rulership. God didn't create Adam to build a church building. He created him to govern a garden, to steward the earth, to name the creatures, and to manifest heaven on dirt. The breath of Elohim in Adam's nostrils wasn't for survival, it was for sonship. He was a walking image of the invisible God, given a realm to reign over. Dominion was man's birthright. And the earth was the realm of his rule. The earth, not heaven, was the first inheritance from the beginning. God made it clear. The heaven, even the heavens, are the Lord's, but the earth hath he given to the children of men. Psalm chapter 115 verse 16. It wasn't the stars, the moon, or the sky that God handed to Adam. It was the earth. Not in theory. Not in prophecy. Not in some distant day. But in reality. The earth was Adam's home, his realm, his crown. Eden was a prototype of kingdom governance, heaven and earth in perfect union, with man at the center as the mediator of both realms. The intruder had no inheritance. The serpent didn't come to claim his territory, because he had none. He came to steal someone else's. He was never promised the earth. He was never given authority. He was never crowned. He slithered in as a liar and usurper. And Adam, the crown-bearer of Eden, listened to the wrong voice. That day, the dominion man carried was handed to darkness, not by force, but by agreement. But even then, God had a plan. A seed would come. A sun would rise. And the earth would be returned. Dominion was not cancelled, it was delayed. When Adam fell, he didn't lose a religion. He lost a government. But God didn't give up. He spoke of a day when the seed of the woman would crush the serpent's head, Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. He whispered through the prophets of a king, a son, a man who would take back the earth. And when Jesus came, he didn't come to take us out of the world, he came to cast the serpent out of it. Now is the judgment of this world, now shall the prince of this world be cast out. John chapter 12 verse 31. Sons are rising to finish what Adam started in this final hour, the same spirit that hovered over Eden, the same voice that said, "Let there be light," that same creative, ruling breath is being poured out again. Not on angels. Not on theologians. But on sons. Sons who know the earth is their inheritance. Sons who will no longer give place to the serpent. Sons who were born to govern in glory. This is not a fairy tale or a future fantasy. This is Genesis restored, Eden re-established, the kingdom coming in power through the elect. The earth was given to the sons. And now, we take it back. Chapter 2. The lie of delay, hope deferred maketh the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 12. Delay is not just a disappointment, it's a disease. A sickness of the soul that comes from promises always pushed into the future, inheritance just out of reach, glory always, someday, and the kingdom always, after we die. This is not gospel. This is bondage in disguise. And the church has swallowed this lie for generations. Religion's most toxic doctrine, not yet, from the pulpits of Babylon, a false gospel has been preached. One day you'll be free, one day you'll rule, one day you'll walk in victory, one day heaven will fix everything, but sons don't live on one day. They live on, this is that. They walk in the now of God, not the someday of men. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 15. Every time the enemy whispers, wait, he pushes your inheritance one day further down the road. But here's the truth, delay is a demonic strategy to rob dominion. The Spirit is saying, now, Jesus didn't come to delay the kingdom, he came to declare it. The time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of God is at hand. Repent ye, and believe the gospel. Mark chapter 1 verse 15. He never said, wait until after you die. He said, it is finished. He said, all power in heaven and earth is given unto me. He said, behold, I give you power. Why? Because the kingdom wasn't for the clouds, it was for the earth. And the sons were never told to delay. They were told to manifest. Delay keeps the serpent on the throne. As long as you're waiting, the serpent keeps squatting on your land. As long as you're hoping for heaven, you'll never rule on earth. As long as you're looking up, you'll never step into. Religious delay is spiritual disinheritance. It teaches the sons to crawl, while the serpent rules. But God is done with delay. There shall be delay no longer. Revelation chapter 10 verse 6. That was heaven's verdict. The time is now. The war between later and now. There are two gospels in the earth. One that says, hold on till Jesus comes. One that says, occupy till he comes. One is powerless and patient. The other is glorious and ruling. One lets the serpent stay. The other casts him down. Which gospel are you living in? The tree of life is now bearing fruit. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. But the desire, when it comes, is a tree of life. And that tree is blooming. No more delay. No more waiting. No more pushing promises into the next age. Suns are rising. The earth is returning. And every lying spirit of delay is being cast out of Zion. Chapter 3. The serpent was never crowned, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Genesis chapter 3 verse 14. He slithered in, he deceived, he whispered lies and drew Adam into rebellion, but he was never crowned. The serpent was cunning, yes. But not royal. Not kingly. Not chosen. Not anointed. He was judged, not enthroned. Satan's throne is built on man's agreement. Satan has no throne of his own. Every ounce of authority he's ever wielded, he stole it. The dominion he operates in is not legal, it's borrowed through deception. He rules only where sons refuse to. He gains power where there's passivity. He gains territory where there's ignorance. He gains influence where there's delay. But he was never given dominion. He was never given a realm. He was never promised a kingdom. Only dust. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Genesis chapter 3 verse 14. Dust is the carnal man, not the earth itself. Satan was sentenced to eat dust. But dust does not mean land, it means flesh. For he knows our frame, he remembers that we are dust. Psalm chapter 103 verse 14. Dust represents the carnal man, the Adamic nature, the unrenewed soul. That is the serpent's only legal food. And as long as man stays in the dust, in the flesh, in delay, in ignorance, the serpent stays fed. But the moment a sun rises, a moment a manchild ascends, the serpent starves. Because glorified sons don't live in the dust. They walk in the Spirit, and the serpent has no access there. The real crown was reserved for the seed. God never told the serpent he would reign. But he did tell him who would crush him. He shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. The seed of the woman was coming. And that seed is Christ. But it's also Christ in you. Every son that rises in the power of the resurrection, every daughter that refuses the dust and walks in spirit, is a threat to the serpent's reign. Because the crushing was never just about Calvary, it's about a company of sons that finish the job. Jesus declared war on the prince of this world. When Jesus came, he didn't honor the serpent's rule, he overthrew it. Now is the judgment of this world, now shall the prince of this world be cast out. John chapter 12 verse 31, the prince of this world comes, and he has nothing in me. John chapter 14 verse 30, he didn't say Satan was a king, he called him a prince. A lower ruler. Temporary. Usurped. And then, he stripped him. Having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. Colossians chapter 2 verse 15, Jesus exposed him. Defeated him. Crushed his head. The sons must now enforce the verdict. Christ's victory is final, but it must be enforced. The serpent has been judged, but he still squats in places where sons won't rule. That's why a company is arising, a Manchild people, who will no longer tolerate the serpent's lies, who will remove his crown, cast him to the earth, and walk in divine dominion. He was never crowned. He was never promised the earth. He was never written in the scroll. But you were. Chapter 4, Sons, not slaves, wherefore thou art no more a servant, but a son, and if a son, then an heir of God through Christ. Galatians chapter 4 verse 7, you were not redeemed to become a servant. You were born again to be revealed as a son. The cross didn't just rescue you from sin, it restored your name, your nature, and your inheritance. Sons inherit. Slaves wait. Sons rise. Slaves bow. The serpent thrives in a world where believers stay bound by an orphan mindset, but heaven rejoices when sons take their place in the Father's house, seated and crowned. The DNA of God is in the sons. To be a son of God is not symbolic, it is spiritual reality. As many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. John chapter 1 verse 12, you were not born again into religion. You were born into royalty. Through Christ, you are not a sinner struggling to please God. You are a righteous son, carrying his nature, his authority, and his inheritance. You bear his spirit. You carry his image. You wear his name. Because ye are sons, God hath sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Galatians chapter 4 verse 6, slavery is the language of religion. Religion never calls you son, it calls you servant. It doesn't give you the robe or the ring, it gives you rules and guilt. It celebrates the return of the prodigal, but then tries to keep him out of the Father's chambers. Because religion fears sons. Sons know their father. Sons walk in authority. Sons don't beg, they decree. Sons don't strive, they receive. Religion builds temples. Sons become temples. Religion delays the kingdom. Sons manifest it. Slaves can't cast out serpents. A serpent knows who the sons are, that's why he works overtime to keep you feeling unworthy, condemned, and confused. But make no mistake, slaves tremble. Sons trample. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. Luke chapter 10 verse 19, the dust belongs to the serpent, but the throne belongs to the sons. If you don't know who you are, you live under a yoke that's already been broken. You'll obey a liar who's already been judged. But if you know you're a son, you won't just escape the serpent, you'll evict him. The earth is not for slaves, it's for sons. The inheritance was never promised to religious systems or hired servants. It was promised to heirs. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew chapter 5 verse 5. And what is meekness? It's not weakness. It's yielded sonship. It's ruling with a bowed heart and lifted hands, not as a master, but as a king in submission to the Father. A generation that will not bow to Pharaoh in Egypt. The sons of God were treated like slaves, until God raised up a deliverer. Now he's raising up a generation, a Manchild Company, who will break every chain of religious slavery and walk out of Babylon with the fire of sonship in their bones. This is not just theology. It's not just identity. It's inheritance. And it belongs to sons, not slaves. Chapter 5, The earth is our inheritance, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Matthew chapter 5 verse 5. Heaven is God's, but the earth he gave to the sons. The heaven, even the heavens, are the Lord's, but the earth hath he given to the children of men. Psalm chapter 115 verse 16. The religious world has flipped this. It teaches that earth is passing away, and heaven is our final home. It says to hold on, suffer well, and wait for evacuation. But the word declares something bolder: the earth is your inheritance. Not hell. Not delay. Not destruction. The earth. The promise was always the land. From Adam to Abraham, from Israel to Christ, the divine promise has always included land, not just forgiveness. Lift up now thine eyes, all the land which thou shayest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. Genesis chapter 13 verses 14 to 15. God told Abraham to walk through the land, to measure it with his feet, to believe for his seed to possess it forever. That was not just a spiritual metaphor. It was a real promise of territory, rulership, and stewardship. And Galatians tells us we are the seed of Abraham through Christ, Gal. 3:29. That means, the earth is ours. Jesus didn't promise a cloud, he promised a kingdom. Jesus never said, one day, you'll float on a cloud and play a harp. He said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The kingdom of God is within you. He didn't come to rescue us from earth. He came to redeem the earth through us. That's why he walked on it, bled into it, rose from it, and ascended to send back power upon it. The lie that gave the earth to the serpent. The moment religion told the sons to wait for heaven, the serpent moved in to claim the earth. The moment the church preached escapism, Babylon built cities, media, banks, governments, and kingdoms. The enemy has ruled by default, because the sons have been told not to rule at all. But now, the true heirs are awakening. The earth is crying for the sons, the whole creation groans and travails in pain together until now, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. Romans chapter 8 verses 19 to 22. Creation doesn't need more sermons. It doesn't need more end-time fear. It needs sons. Not someday. Now. The storms, the systems, the shaking, all of it is calling out for those who carry the inheritance of the earth to stand up and say, this is our land. This is our hour. This is our realm. The inheritance is not postponed, it's present. The earth is not a temporary pit stop. It is the field the Father has given to his sons to govern. And the meek, the yielded, obedient, spirit-filled sons, will inherit it. This is not about owning dirt. It's about possessing cities, transforming nations, establishing justice, building righteous culture, and manifesting heaven on ground-level earth. No more delay. No more rapture fantasies. No more inheritance lost to religion. The earth is your portion. Now rise and claim it. Chapter 6, No more delay, heaven's verdict, and the angel, swear by him that liveth forever and ever, that there should be time no longer. Revelation chapter 10 verse 6, KJV, other translations say, there shall be delay no longer. This is not a suggestion. This is a heavenly decree. Spoken by a mighty angel who stood with one foot on the sea and one on the land, declaring not to men, but to creation itself, no more delay. The time for waiting is over. The postponement of glory is done. The legal judgment has been rendered in heaven. The earth must now submit to the rule of the sons. A scroll in the angel's hand in Revelation chapter 10, the angel doesn't just speak, he carries an open book in his hand. This is the book the Lamb unsealed. This is the scroll of dominion, once sealed with 7 seals, now opened in full authority. And this angel doesn't hover in heaven. He plants his feet in creation. 1 foot on the sea, 1 on the earth. 1 on chaos, 1 on dust. And he proclaims, not to a church building, not to a backroom of prophets, but to the cosmic realm, the time is up. The delay is over. The inheritance begins now. Heaven has declared war on delay. Religious men love delay, because it excuses their powerlessness. But heaven has no tolerance for it. When God moves, he moves in fullness. And when the scroll is open, nothing stays the same. Delay is the devil's weapon to keep the sons passive, but once the angel lifts his hand and swears by the eternal God, there's no going back. This is the divine verdict against Babylon. No more hiding behind prophecy. No more pushing promises into the next age. No more waiting for permission from systems that God never built. The voice from heaven is clear. No more delay. Delay is the scaffolding of religion, and it's coming down. False theology builds cathedrals on delay. The kingdom isn't now, it's future. Immortality is for the resurrection. Power is for when Jesus returns. You'll reign in heaven, not on earth. But the angel didn't come to affirm delay. He came to demolish it. This is the sound of construction ending. The building is finished. The scaffolding of religion is being ripped off the sons. Zion is ready. Prophesy again, to every realm. After the angel speaks, John is told, thou must prophesy again before many peoples, and nations, and tongues, and kings. Revelation 10:11. Because once delay is judged, the scroll must be declared. Not whispered in prayer meetings, but thundered in nations. Preached to kings. Spoken to systems. Announced to powers and principalities. This is the new apostolic word. The inheritance is now. The sons are here. The serpent is done. A people without delay. A new breed is rising. A people whose lives are synchronized with the timing of heaven. Who don't live in one day, but in this is that. They carry the sound of the angel. They walk with fire in their bones. They take cities, nations, and spheres of influence. Not someday, but now. Delay has been judged. The heavens are open. And the earth must yield to the rulership of the sons. Chapter 7, Babylon falls, Zion rises. Babylon the Great is fallen, and I heard another voice from heaven, saying, come out of her, my people. Revelation chapter 18 verses 2-4. There are 2 cities in the spirit, Babylon and Zion. One is man-made, religious, seductive, and doomed. The other is God-breathed, eternal, righteous, and unshakable. Babylon has reigned for too long. She has preached delay. She has made the kings of the earth drunk with her fornications. She has built towers instead of thrones. She has entertained crowds instead of equipping sons. But now, Babylon is falling. And Zion is rising. Babylon, the system that stole the earth. Babylon is more than a city. It's a system, a counterfeit kingdom built on mixture and compromised religious control, spiritual performance, false doctrine, delay and defilement. She presents herself as the bride, but she's the harlot. She rides the beast of worldly power while wearing a robe of religious words. And the worst part, she teaches the sons of God to forfeit the earth, to give up dominion, to surrender territory, to wait for escape. Babylon does not raise up kings. She breeds slaves. The judgment has been issued. God is not negotiating with Babylon, he is judging her. Come out of her, my people. Revelation chapter 18 verse 4. He doesn't reform her. he removes his people from her. Because Babylon cannot be redeemed, it must be replaced. By what? By Zion. Zion, the mountain of the Lord and home of the sons, beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth, is Mount Zion, the city of the great King. Psalm chapter 48 verse 2. Zion is not just a future reality, it is a present realm. It is the government of God. It is the seat of the sons. It is the bride made ready, the mountain made manifest, the dwelling place of full authority. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Psalm chapter 50 verse 2. Zion is the true church, birthed from above, not built by men. It is the city that Abraham looked for. The place Christ ascended to. The home of those who will rule the nations with a rod of iron. The great exchange, harlot down, bride crowned. As Babylon falls, Zion is seen. As the harlot is burned, the bride is adorned. As delay dies, dominion rises. This is the hour of the great exchange. The systems of man collapse, and the sons of God step into rulership. And the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord, and of his Christ. Revelation chapter 11 verse 15. Not in theory. Not after the rapture. Now. The trumpet is sounding from Zion, blow the trumpet in Zion. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, weep between the porch and the altar. Joel chapter 2 verses 1-17. This is not a trumpet of fear, it is a sound of summons. Zion is calling. The true church is emerging. The sons are assembling. And the systems of Babylon are trembling. This is not revival. This is replacement. The city of God is rising. And the serpent has no seat in her gates. Babylon is falling. Zion is rising. And the sons are taking the earth. Visited us at thefinishedworkofchrist.com.